Best of the best to ever play this game. If Jordan, they saying you the best, beat your ass. Magic and Kareem, beat you. Bird and McHale, beat you. Can't nobody else say that. We the only one that can say that. Now, when you say we undeserving and then we bad for basketball and you throw these stereotype labels on the black community in Detroit and then put them on all teams.
So I get it now. I get it. I get it now. Now I get it. I get it. I get it. Like, okay, first of all, Vinny, that thing is never gonna thaw, is it? That Jordan Isiah thing. Unfortunately, like we can give you some holiday cliches. Hey, it's a holiday season. Let's appreciate all the things that we have and all this wonderful. No. These guys, it ain't happening, is it? Jordan and Isiah, they just never gonna come together and resolve some of the stuff that is out there that Isiah put out there in that podcast.
Unfortunately, isn't this what we've asked for out of our sport gladiators? To carry that bitterness and that anger and that feud and that rivalry on forever? Don't we get mad at players in this huggy, dapping up generation, the AAU generation? Don't we get mad at players for exchanging?
No.
Yes, we do.
Not after,
yes, we do.
Not when they're done. Not when they're done. When they're over, when their careers are over.
You can't have it both ways.
Isiah played the game 30 years ago, man. It was 30 years ago.
Okay, back to the lecture at hand because we're getting off the topic. And I'm going to personalize this. I'm going to personalize this because I know that's why you asked me a question. I'm going to personalize this. One of the reasons I got into sports writing was because of that particular moment right there. Because of incomplete stories that were being told only from one point of view. Of course, it says, victory writes the victory. They write history, right? Mm-hmm. And even if you're the victors in the last of it, it doesn't matter that you lost beforehand. If you were the last man standing, so to speak, then you get to write history. And Michael Jordan has written history for the better part of 30 years. And so much of the Pistons walk-off was, hey, you guys are sore losers and everything else. And a lot of it was just in that particular moment. You don't reduce champions. Now, as much as you can say about the Pistons and the Bad Boys back then, they always respected the Celtics. They revered the Celtics in a way. Now, you didn't play like it. You can't revere them on the floor. You got to treat them with disdain on it. You got to play with competition. Same thing with the Lakers. They revered what the Lakers stood for. So many teams back then watched Michael Jordan fly through the air. They were in awe of him. And Detroit and the Pistons had the unmitigated gall to say, you know what? You may be coming, but this isn't your time yet. We're not
going to let you fly through like that.
It's competition, man. We want our players to compete. We want guys to go as hard as they can within the scope of the rules, right? Within the scope of the rules, not cheaters or anything. They didn't cheat the rules. They didn't cheat the game. You never saw the Detroit Pistons cheat the game. But somehow their championships have become discredited through time.
Well, let me ask you real quick, because I want you to keep going. I love this. What was he talking about? Because I was watching the Pistons and Bulls at that time, enjoyed all of that. Pistons, Bulls, Lakers, Pistons, Celtics, great stuff. I mean, great rivalries, some iconic moments in the history of the game, whether it's Isiah playing the ankle. You're like, man, how are you making shots when you're hurt, to Isiah making the ill-advised pass where DJ gets the layup from Bird and all this stuff. So a lot of stuff. Bird and Isiah, Isiah and Magic used to kiss before games, but no more. Oh, no, we got beef. Oh, we're getting mad at each other, all this stuff. But what was Isiah talking about and said we got cheated? When did they get cheated? I missed this. Who?
Game 6. Wait. You asked the question. Game 6.
Okay.
1988.
I'm waiting.
The phantom foul on Bill Laimbeer in the final seconds of Game 6, where the Pistons should have closed out the Lakers in the Forum in that famous Isiah ankle game.
Right.
Bill Laimbeer brushed up against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the days that they weren't calling fouls on anything. And that's what he meant by cheated. Not actually cheated, but they felt robbed. All of Detroit felt robbed in that moment. So back to the lecture at hand. Remember, I'm a person that says Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time, right? So this is not me coming from a place of hatred for Michael or anything like that, right? And Isiah later on in that podcast said, hey, Michael Jordan has made a lot of money for all of us. He and only he could have grown the game and made it global and everything else. He has given Michael all his flowers in that way, even if he, regardless of what he feels about him from a rivalry standpoint, he gave him that. But in that moment, while they're about to sweep the champion, right? That is what is going to happen. The Pistons were older. Isiah was hurt. It was the Bulls' time. And when you got the greatest player in the history of the game at perhaps his individual peak and clearly at his most determined, something like this is going to happen. But the one thing that never happened, I don't ever recall this. I don't remember Stephen Curry doing it with LeBron. I don't recall LeBron doing it. I don't recall any other champion discrediting or saying that someone else's championships won at the hands of your blood, mind you, right? Mm-hmm. Those Piston banners got Jordan blood on it. Don't ever forget that. Those Piston banners have Jordan blood on it, fair and square, right? And now you come back and say, man, them championships don't count. You're undeserving. There's certain lines that you don't cross, even through rivalry, that I feel like Michael Jordan crossed.
Well, but I think they're still doing it. They're still crossing. So I just want to let me just go back for a second. You said, "Hey, isn't this what we want?"
You are getting me riled. I feel like my neck.
I know.
Is getting.
I know. I love it.
Now.
I love that.
You are doing this to me.
Come on, man. Come on. Is this your last appearance in 2022? We got to do it right, man. We got to do it right. Look, you said this is what we asked for. We want our champions to be at odds on the court. So I was just thinking, because we've lost these two great men over the years. We lost Bill Russell this year. We lost Wilt Chamberlain. I believe it was 1999.
99,
when Chamberlain died. So I remember Chamberlain. I'm not going to tell you who the MC was because then that will really derail our conversation. But there was a Bill Russell. There was a Bill Russell tribute at Boston Garden in 1999. It was like in the spring of '99. So a lot of people were there. Wilt Chamberlain was there. Aretha Franklin was there. I mean, it was like star-studded. So Chamberlain is there with Russell, and they're telling the story of how when they played against each other, they were rivals on the court. And even after Wilt retired, they had some issues, but they resolved those. But they were rivals. When they played in Philly, Bill Russell, Wilt's mom be like, come over to the house. We'll make you dinner. You're going to take a nap upstairs, and then we'll go to the game. So, I mean, I think we want to see it on the court. What I don't want to see, I just want to be clear. This is where I'm coming from. Hey, dap the guy up after the game. Be friendly after the game. That's cool. But on the court, I really do want to see that compete level. I want it to be high. I like what the Pistons did to Jordan. I like it. Oh, you going to come to the lane? The Prince of Air? Oh, for real? Okay, here's an elbow right to the chest. Oh, we're going to make you toughen up. And they did. They did it. He should give the Pistons credit. He and Scotty needed to get stronger because of what Detroit did to them. Detroit wore them out. So I like that. But I think the lines are being crossed here maybe to a point that I'm a little uncomfortable. Because I think Jordan feels like Isiah froze him out of that All-Star game. Was that 1985? So the All-Star game frees out. So he's got issues over that. Then the Pistons win championships. Jordan is now seen as this guy who can score but can't win. He's in his late 20s now, 27, 28, still hasn't won a championship. And the Pistons are getting the glory. So he's got issues with that. Then the handshake thing. Now Isiah is clapping back. I think the Last Dance really pissed him off. That pissed him off. And so now, man, Vinny, to say The whole black community thing? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You think Jordan meant that? I don't think Jordan meant that. But now with Isiah introducing this, now this is supposed to be a family matter. Now we're gonna turn the community against each other. We're gonna have a civil war.
I think
over this.
I think what happens, there are certain trigger words. And Isiah Thomas is a native son of the west side of Chicago. Never discount the part that the city of Chicago as a battleground plays in this. And not from the standpoint of a jealousy, although I'm sure that could be a part of it. But Isiah Thomas has always railed against labels. He's always been that. Right or wrong, that is something that man has stood against, is being labels. Because as we know, labels never work for black folks. Can you think of a label that works for black people? Because I don't. You know what I mean?
Take your time. Take your time on this one.
I believe that when you hear those things, even if it wasn't Michael's intent, and I don't think it was. I think he was strictly talking about it from an athletic, from a competition standpoint, and he had his time to gloat in the day between game 3 and 4, where you're up 3-0, you're in this team's building, you're going to probably sweep them the next day because they're wounded. And that's what it's going to be. Nobody's just discounting the facts of that. But I do think that it struck Detroit a certain way. The thing about like this, Michael Holley, by and large, Michael Jordan can be cheered in Salt Lake City. And he put them out of the finals in devastating fashion twice. And Salt Lake City ain't kind to nobody, asked Donovan Mitchell, right? There's the one place that Michael Jordan will never be wholly cheered, no matter how many people wear his shoes or have him in the background or whatever it is, will be Detroit, Michigan. Because of things that he said that day, things that he said since, and the ways that he discredited a champion. The one thing that Detroit has always wanted, and you know this from being from Cleveland, one thing these Midwest cities, these Midwest teams, they want validation. They want to be validated. For what
give
we've
me my
done,
props.
for who
give
we
me,
are.
Acknowledge it. Yeah, acknowledge it. Give me credit.
In the words of Pac, in the words of Tupac, give me my proper etiquette. And Michael Jordan never gave Detroit, never gave the Pistons their proper etiquette. And everybody goes on to say, well, Michael Jordan shook the Pistons' hands when they lost and everything else, as if 1990 and 1991 were years apart. Like the way history is framed, it's almost like June 1st, 1990 happens, and then the very next day is May 30th, 1991. A lot of things happen in between then. And I'm with you, Michael, on this. I'm with you on it being a little uncomfortable because two pillars in various degrees of black excellence, two guys who helped to bring the NBA to the way that it is now. Remember, from the way that they were dressing, to the NBA players being on commercials and having a certain amount of equity that had not been afforded to NBA players of times before then. Like, people talk about those players not speaking out, but they never talk about the players earning the equity that players of today are building on and cashing in on that equity. They were coming from the ground up. Isiah and Michael and Magic and Julius Erving were coming from the ground up and being accepted into your living rooms and into corporate America in ways that generations never have had. So to see this
and it's never happened in any other sport either. Never happened in any other sport.
Never.
It was not happening for black athletes in baseball, clearly.
Nope.
It was not happening in football, except for OJ. But OJ said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay.
I'm not
so
black,
that's a
I'm
different
OJ.
story altogether. You're right. So wasn't happening there. Hockey, as Cedric said.
Ain't no brothers in hockey.
I don't know about hockey. And then we have basketball. Basketball, they really did. They were foundational. It wasn't just Magic and Bird that brought the NBA back in 1979, 1980. It was Magic, Bird, Doc, Isiah. I mean, a lot of those guys. Dominique, I'll give Dominique credit too. Like, a lot of these guys were doing just their style, just their charisma. Really, Kareem, all helped put the league in this position where it is today. Now, we talk about number one. Actually, final word on this. How do you think it ends? Because I want to transition to another, real quick, another great. How do you think this ends? Do they shake hands and have dinner or no?
I think, here's what I'll say. I think these two men are far more alike than they're willing to admit. I just think one was hardened through the streets of Chicago, and one grew up middle class in Wilmington, North Carolina. But I think to some degree, they are largely so similar that they don't like what they see when they look at the other. Like, think about it like this, and this is my real final word on this. Michael Jordan has been lauded for being the pettiest man alive, right? Like we saw it on The Last Dance, how petty he was. We've made all these GIFs, and
I took that personally.
And we laud him for that. We celebrate him for that. That becomes a part of his lore. But Isiah Thomas isn't allowed to be petty. He isn't allowed to have feelings and grudges. But Michael Jordan is. Make that make sense.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.